Now, this is a very good episode for the Universe 6 tournament within Dragon Ball Super. I really enjoyed this episode. Hope you guys did too. We are on episode 34 of Dragon Ball Super and that cliffhanger at the end. I am so hyped for the next episode because with Vegeta about to go up against Frost, you can just feel his anger and drive just to take down Frost. And if he does take down Frost next episode, not only will he take down Frost, but a few episodes back, he got his revenge on Frieza. So that ending right there has me hyped for the next episode. And if everyone knows what's about to happen, get hyped because it's going to be so enjoyable. But I don't want to take away from Piccolo going up against Frost this episode as well, because that is a majority of this episode, and that was very enjoyable as well. There were some great moments within the fight, some good callbacks to past techniques that Piccolo used back during Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z. Have the Mankaku Sapo or the Special Beam Cannon coming back. I really enjoyed that, but I also laughed a lot during this episode, and that goes to Beerus and Champa, their relationship and rivalry. I am really enjoying the English dub and how they just have like the dialogue going back and forth between these two characters about how they're basically children bickering amongst each other, and then you have like the parent figures of the angels of Whis and Vados basically parenting over them. So enjoyable. But I want to start at the beginning of this episode because what I really liked at the beginning of this episode was the fact when Goku, from the previous episode got knocked out of the ring, everyone's shocked. But what I really liked was the fact that Chi-Chi, immediately ran down there. And that just goes to show how much that she actually loves and cares about Goku, because as soon as she gets down there, she's like, Goku, are you all right? And he gets back up and is like, you had me so worried. I thought you actually died right now. So I really enjoy that because you don't really get to see those type of moments with Goku and Chi-Chi. Usually it's just Chi-Chi yelling at Goku, but this was a good change of pace, and it's nice to see their relationship in a different light. So having Chi-Chi do that at the very beginning parts of this episode, I thought were really enjoyable, and it was just nice to see that for her character once again, and her just jumping down from the platform down to the stage and running over to Goku. I really enjoyed that. But another section that I really liked out of this episode, again, was the Beerus and Champa dialogue, the bickering going back and forth, and those parts is where I laughed the most out of this entire episode, because I just love the dynamic and the voice actors for Beerus and Champa just going back and forth. The fact that Champa is such a big crybaby, he just cries over everything. If nothing goes his way, he immediately whines about it. But then you also have Whis and Vados just basically, being the parental figures, and whenever they're like talking to their destroyers, they're just basically like sitting there like, come on, sit down, stop your whining. And I really like the moment too when Beerus was like telling to Champa, it's like, hey, listen to the ref, he has more authority than us, the gods of destruction. And then Whis is looking at him just like with that like look like, do you really mean that, my lord? And Beerus is like, hell no, I don't mean that one bit. I loved that part so much. So that little like sections within this episode I really enjoyed. They are just absolutely amazing characters to be added into the mythos of Dragon Ball with these gods of destruction and these angels. Great addition to the world of Dragon Ball. So now let's move on to the main meat of this episode, which was basically Frost against Piccolo. And I kind of really find it very meta and kind of very like tongue-in-cheek, the fact that they kind of write it in to where Piccolo is asking if he even has a chance to win this fight, and Goku is like, nah, you probably don't have that much of a chance against Frost. And even Frost is like, doubting him as well. So I really do like that that's kind of played into it. But this has been a long time coming for Piccolo, because Piccolo hasn't really seen a good, decent fight, or at least a one-on-one match in quite some time. The last one that I can remember that is most recent to now has to be him going up against Android 18 back during like the Android Cell saga. I don't really remember if he had really one-on-one matches, during the Buu saga, but that is like the main major fight that I think everyone can remember about Piccolo. So having Piccolo basically going up against Frost this episode, I was really looking forward to it. And I honestly thought this fight was better than the past two fights we had in the last episode, with Potamo against Goku and then Goku against Frost. The animation and just the way that it was choreographed, I just don't think it really like flowed all too well to start off a tournament. But this fight I really enjoyed. Just seeing Piccolo, charging up the Special Beam Cannon, getting to see that again, I really enjoyed. And I kind of find it very funny too that even Frost points out that like when you see Piccolo charging up the Special Beam Cannon, you can't see his face the entire time. So the animation department definitely saved on having to animate Piccolo's face because all you saw was energy and ki just, consuming around his finger as he's charging up the Mankakosapo or the special beam cannon. But there's other callbacks too within this fight as well when he uses his antennas to like shoot lightning down at Frost. He has this multi-form technique, to kind of like have like 30 against 1. But then also when he's about to lose the special beam cannon, he ends up using his extendo arms, which he always forgets to do. And if you guys watch like Team 4-Star, they even like bring jokes about how Piccolo is able to extend his arms, but yet he doesn't utilize it all that much. So I like all the callbacks in Piccolo's techniques, and he's using it to his advantage to try to win against Frost throughout this entire situation. But then Frost ends up revealing his trump card, what he ended up doing to Goku last episode that kind of left everyone confused, and we finally find out about it within this episode because he used it on Piccolo, and then Jocko ended up spotting it. And I really do like the little thing within this episode when Jocko ended up going up to where Beerus and the Universe 7 fighters are sitting, and he sits right next to Vegeta. And I just love that dynamic of Vegeta and Jocko. They just don't like each other all that much, but since Jocko went up there to get a better view, he was able to see with his alien eyes what Frost was doing, and he has this tip that's poisonous in his arm to where he's able to stab the person, they get a little bit woozy, and they end up falling unconscious for a little bit. And I really like the whole gag, of Jocko pointing it out. Champa ends up crying about it, being a really sore loser, and then Beerus just basically saying, well, if you end up being wrong, you can get destroyed. I don't care. It's no skin off my bone. And Vegeta's backing up 100%, basically saying yeah, I don't care if Jocko dies at all. Search Frost right now. So they search Frost. The announcer ends up falling under, the unconscious poison within this poison barb that Frost has, and then it turns out, shocker, Frost is evil. So he's actually not much more different than Frieza from Universe 7. But I really do like how they kind of explain what Frost does in Universe 6, because what he ends up doing in the underground world of Universe 6 is that he starts these wars with these pirates because he's the organization's leader, and then comes in to finishes the wars and then buys up all the property because everything's just so battle torn and destroyed, and then sells it for a bigger, better price. And he's basically like a real estate agent, which is kind of what Frieza was based on originally when Akira Toriyama made that character back during the Namek saga. So it's all coming full circle, even in Universe 6, which I really enjoyed. Jocko coming up very clutch, pointing out, that Frost was cheating, and even though it is a part of his body, the announcer even says, this is against the rules, you can't be using that. They have this little moment too where kind of Frost gets disqualified, Piccolo is reinstated, but then Vegeta comes up, and that's where it kind of goes into the cliffhanger with this episode, where Vegeta basically says, no, keep Frost in. Piccolo, you're going to disqualify yourself right now, and I'm going to take Frost one-on-one. And right now I'm just yes, I am so excited for Vegeta because the next episode, what he ends up doing to Frost, I am just so excited to see how the dub handles. And if you guys have no idea and are watching the dub for the first time, bring some popcorn because it is going to be amazing. I just can't wait to see how it is handled. Oh my God. Vegeta versus Frost next episode. That cliffhanger was just so bad because I'm on the edge of my seat just come on, have it be this episode. And then it ended. I was oh, we gotta wait next week. So Frost versus Vegeta next week in episode 35. This was a much better episode than I would say the last episode where we had those two fights with Goku. Animation-wise, it's up in the air all the time, but the dub is handling this content so beautifully. I love the dialogue, the bickering back and forth. Beerus and Champa honestly made this episode for me, and having those characters, and especially the angels being introduced into Dragon Ball Super, just makes me love their characters more and more. So that is it for this episode, episode 34. I definitely want to hear your guys' thoughts on this episode. Did you guys laugh at all the stuff with Beerus and Champa? Did you guys enjoy the fight with Piccolo going up against Frost? And how hyped are you for Vegeta about to go up against Frost next episode? So give me your thoughts down in the comments below. We have episode 35 coming out next week for Dragon Ball Super, but until then, I'll talk with you guys later. Bye, guys.